Okay, let me go open the course. All right. Okay, so this one says build your first website as you learn the essentials of HTML and CSS with Code Avengers. Play with cool effects. We're going to customize headers, footers, images, fonts to make your own personal and business profile pages that are uniquely you. So you're going to be choosing your own pictures and things like that. Your journey to becoming a web developer or designer begins here. So we're going to click on this first lesson. Hopefully I won't have problems with mine loading. If I have to, might have to go close my Canvas page. Okay. Now remember, these pop up just to kind of help you know how to use the page. So go through the little tour about reading the instructions carefully, how the lesson is divided into 5 tasks. You write the code in the code editor, which is this section here. You're going to test your web page here on the phone display. When you think you've completed the task, click the check button right there. View your results. They'll tell us if we've made a mistake or if we got it right. And so we're going to get started. Okay, so lesson 1, add text to the code editor. Web pages are made with 2 computer languages, and we learned this in HTML0, HTML and CSS. HTML defines the content. CSS defines how it looks. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit of a review. So let's come down here. For your first task, follow these steps. On line 1, replace the words, type your sentence here with a sentence about why you want to learn to code. Okay, so write whatever sentence you want to. Nothing that you write will be wrong, okay? Because we're actually going to delete these lines in a few minutes, all right? Well, not a few minutes, we'll go through a couple of tasks, and then everything that we've typed, we're going to end up deleting it, okay? So after you do that, click check when you're done, okay? Hopefully, yours popped up and says that it was complete, and then we're just going to hit next. Now again, there was only about 6 of you that raised your hand. I hope that the rest of you are just working on your own pace. One of the pros to doing this with me is you never have to click a question mark. You're going to make 100 points out of 100 points if you do this with me. Because if there's ever a place we get stuck, I'm going to click the question mark, so it won't cost you points. But like I say, some of you are whizzes at this. You don't need my help. So, I encourage y'all just to work on your own. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hit next. All right. Getting help to complete tasks. You score 10 points for completing each task. When you're stuck on a task, there's 4 ways to get help. You can use the hint buttons, but that's going to cost you 2 points. You can click the solution, but that's going to cost you 5 points. You can play around with the examples in the reference guide, okay? You click on the 3 little dots to get to the reference guide. That costs you 0 points, okay? So any of you that are doing this by yourself, use that reference guide so you don't lose points, okay? Now this part right here, send us a question. Don't send them a question, because they have it in the code. You know who the question comes to? Me. Okay, so just ask me. If you got a question, it's not going to go to this person in New Zealand that's going to answer it and send it back to you. They route it to my email and I'll get it and I'll just say, I'll help you in class. Okay, so that's kind of not a free help there. One thing they don't mention, and I guess they'll mention it later, the videos. It does not cost you any points to watch those videos to get help, okay? Now, in HTML0, we learned that, that HTML doesn't kind of count for blank spaces, and like if I hit the enter key 5 times and started a new paragraph, that's not going to display over here on the phone. Okay, so it says on line 3, type a second sentence. So if I come down to line 3, and it says type a second sentence about what you want to build with your coding skills. I'm going to put, I want to build web pages. Notice where that sentence is placed on the phone. This sentence, the I, and I know that's kind of small, make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. That I is right after the word scratch, okay, right over here, all right? Even though I pressed enter and there's a blank line in between it, HTML doesn't factor those in. We have to use paragraph tags, okay? Paragraph tags is how we get those space in there, okay? So a little bit of, some of this is a review, and I'm going to try to go through this a little more quickly because we've done this before, okay? So it says compare your code with the phone screen, and you'll see that you don't have a blank line. Press the space bar to add several spaces between any two words in your code. So I'm going to go between web and pages, and I'm going to press the space bar. Okay, I can press that space bar all day long, but nothing happens over here on my phone. Okay, because the way we get blank lines and the way we get spaces on our screen to display, we have to use with HTML tags. HTML tags or CSS code. Okay, any questions about that? All right, we're going to check that one. It's going to flash real quick, but I got it right. We're going to hit next. Now, at some point, we are going to delete these sentences, and it does not tell you when to delete them. So those of you that are doing this on your own, at some point, when we get to the place where we need to get rid of them, I'm going to tell everybody and say, hey, remember those sentences or that paragraph we typed? Go delete it, okay? Because otherwise, it's just going to junk up your page, and it's going to take up room on your page that we don't want it to. Okay. All right. So lesson 1.3, we're going to learn how to use something called a break. And a break is used with the tag angle bracket, BR angle bracket. There's not a start tag and an end tag. There's only one. Okay. And what it does, it puts in extra space in our code. So down here it says, for example, break is the line break tag. It moves any text that comes after it to a new line. Now, I think in this class, didn't we learn how to use the new line character, or am I thinking JavaScript? Did we do like the \ln in here? Okay, that's one way to force text to go down to the next line. Another way is a paragraph tag. And then a third way you're learning now is a break, okay? But remember, you have to have that angle bracket, BR, which is an abbreviation for break, and then the closing angle bracket. It has to be typed exactly like that. If you turn the angle brackets the wrong way, it's not going to work, okay? All right, so let's go here, and let's look at task number 1. It says, put a break tag on line 2 between your two sentences. So I'm going to click there between my two sentences, and I'm going to type angle bracket, BR angle bracket. Okay. So now that I've added the break, and hopefully you added the break, go look at your phone now. Now you should have a blank line between the two sentences. Prior to typing that, there was no line. It went straight from the word scratch, which was the end of my first sentence, straight to the word I, which was the beginning of my second sentence. But now, since I've added a break on line 2, we'll go look at my phone. Now that I has been moved down to the next page. Now notice there's not a blank line between it. A paragraph would give you that space above it and below it, but a break, all it does is moves the cursor to the next line, the very next line. So if I wanted to have a blank line between those two sentences, how many breaks would I need to use? 2, exactly. Okay. All right, so I think that's all on this one. Whoops. Yep. So we're going to check it, and we're going to hit next. I really wish mine would stay there a little bit longer. Okay, paragraph tag. Now we've already learned paragraph tags in HTML0, so this should be a review. Although I know that there's a few of you, about 6 or 7 of you in here, you've never turned in HTML0 1 through 5. So I hope at some point you go back and finish that. Okay. All right, paragraph tags. The paragraph tag is put before paragraphs of text. This tag leaves one whole empty line between the paragraphs. And that's what I was kind of talking about just a second ago. Compare this to the break tag, which puts sentences on separate lines, but without that blank line in between. So it says change the break tag between your sentences to a P. So all I got to do on line 2 is go backspace that BR, get rid of that BR, put a P in there, and notice on the phone, and I know this is tiny, I know it's really tiny for you guys to see in the back, but even with it small, as soon as I change that BR to a P, then I got this blank line between those two sentences, okay? So again, think about why do we even learning this? We're learning this because there may be some of you that later in your life might want to pursue a career in web design. And you're going to have somebody come in, it's going to be your customer or your client, say, I want you to build me this web page. And I want my title up here, then I want some information here, and then way down here. You've got to know how to use all of these tags to build your page. Okay? So that's the break and the paragraph. Now, you could use templates. There's lots of templates out there, Weebly, Wix. There's all kind of free templates on the internet that you can use now. At the end of this semester, we'll play around with Weebly a little bit. But the template websites are very limited in what you can do. If you know HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript, you could build any web page from scratch. Okay? All right, so let's check this. Said 1.4 was complete. Then move on. All right, doc type. Even doc type is a review. We found out this information in HTML0. It says this course follows the Google Style Guide, which is a set of rules of writing code that is easy to understand. If you already know some HTML, click here to read some of the rules. Now, we're not going to click and read them. We're going to learn all kind of rules as we progress through this course. And I've mentioned, I don't know if you remember me mentioning, but HTML5, which is the version we're using, kind of gotten lenient with some of the rules. And as I said, when you are resizing a picture, be sure to always put that number inside quotes. You won't mark it wrong if you don't, but that is a very bad habit to get into, and it goes against the Google Style Guide, okay? So I'll bring that up later when we actually do one. Okay, so the code doc type should always be put on the first line of your HTML document. It tells the web browser that the page that we're creating uses HTML5, which is the latest version of HTML that I know of. There could be, because you know this whole program that Code Avengers does, they update it because there are some things that are new this semester that weren't there last semester. But as far as I know, HTML5 is the latest version. Okay. The HTML4 doc type code was much more complicated. I don't know if I agree with that. You had to use a lot more start tags and end tags that now we only have to use start tags, but I'm not sure complicated is the right word. Okay. All right. So number 1 says put doc type HTML on line 1. So I have to get that off, please. That's hurting my brain. All right, so I think we can click on this. Does it? Yeah, it copies it to the clipboard. So I'm going to go here and press enter, and I'm just going to paste it because lots of times if I type things, I might make a mistake. Okay. All right. So we did that. So easy enough. Check it. Oh, and by the way, please make sure that's on line 1. Some of you in the last week or so, when I've been coming around and helping you do your code, some of you, I'm like, can I just clean this up a little bit, get everything on the right lines. The doc type should always be first, followed by your title, and then the third one would probably be your link. Kaylee, will you put that bottle down? That's driving me crazy, dear. Okay, the cream one that you're doing. My OCD tunes into it, and I can't think about anything else except that crackling. Okay. All right, so everybody good with this? All right, did I check it? I think I checked it. Let's get to the next one. Okay. All right, so now we're on lesson 2. Is everybody that's doing this with me? Are y'all with me? Okay, do I need to stop? Do I need to pause? Do I need to back up? Everybody's good. Okay. All right, changing pages. In this course, you're going to make 4 web pages. All right. It says, click the label tags to display each page. In lessons 2 to 10, we will be working solely on our profile page. In lesson 7, no, I take that back because it says in lesson 7, we'll make the lights page. And then 11 through 20, we'll make the business page. And your lesson 1 code is in test. Use the, oh, that's where we were supposed to write those 2 sentences. Okay, I just got that. I don't know how many times I've taught this course, and I just realized that's why it never tells us to get rid of those first 2 pages. I mean, those first 2 sentences that we type, because we just put that on the test page. Did it say that? Let me go back and look. I'm just gotta check. Does anybody see where it says work on the text page, test page, or maybe did it automatically go on the test page? Am I confusing myself? No, it's not there. It's on my profile page. No, it's not either. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay. All right, and maybe that's something new that Code Avengers did that wasn't there last time, because there was those 2 sentences that were in there. We had to delete them, but I don't see them anywhere. It's like they're not even showing up now. Okay. All right, so add a title element. But why is my doc type not there? Is your doc type there on your is your doc type on your profile page? Does it have doc type there? No. So were we on the test page that whole time? Okay. All right. So we'll start from here. All right. Add a title element. An organization called W3C makes the rules for HTML and CSS. These rules say that all valid web pages need a doc type. Then it needs the title. So I guess we're adding the doc type here. So maybe we were on that test page the whole time. Okay. So same thing goes here. It says make sure that you're on the profile.html page, and we're going to add code to that page. So everybody make sure you're on this tab. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is add the doc type. Now you can click on that little square, and that will open up the reference guide, and we can copy and paste from this. Okay. So I clicked on the little square that said doc type. Actually, it's a rectangle, not a square. It opens up the reference guide. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to use Control-C. You can right-click and copy it. And then I'm going to paste that. My Control-V didn't want to paste it. I'm going to paste it on line 1. Okay. Everybody good? Catherine, you doing this with us? Okay. I'm trying to pay attention to who's doing it with me so I can kind of look and make sure that you're not typing when I go to the next one. Okay. Raise your hand again if you're doing this with me, step by step. Okay. Okay. All right. Number 2 says add a title element with the text Code Avengers profile. So same thing. There's that little rectangle. I'm going to click on it. It's going to open the reference guide. And y'all, this does not take any points off of your grade. If you didn't know how to do a title, and you're doing this on your own, and you came over and you clicked on that little question mark by 3, it's going to take 2 points off But you could just click on the reference guide for free. Okay, when I say for free, I mean it's not going to take any points off. So I'm going to copy that whole line of code. My control C is working, but my control V is not. And it says, let's try it one more time. Control V. Oh, it worked that time. Okay. So it says this appears in the tab on your web browser, but we are going to get rid of that text. And it says type Code Avengers Profile. So we're on number 3 here. Okay. So Code Avengers. Now, guys, this is a title that's going to show up on the tab. So let's use proper capitalization. So your C should be capitalized, your A should be capitalized, and then profile should be capitalized. Okay. I'll kind of make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see, but I can still see over here. Okay. On line 3, add the text, my profile, with no tag. So this is probably going to be our main heading, but we're going to start off with it not having any tags. So we're going to press enter, and I'm going to type my profile. Look at the phone to see what your code does. Click check when you're done. Okay. So the doc type doesn't show up. That's for the human readers. The title, Code Avengers Profile, it doesn't show up there. This text shows up, but there's no tag, so it's not like bold or fancy or large or anything like that. If I want to see this Code Avengers Profile, remember, you can click this area here. It opens up a new tab on my browser, and there's Code Avengers Profile. So whatever you put in the title tags shows up on the tab of your web browser. So I'm going to close this and go back here. Okay. Any questions about those 3 tabs? Now, optional, it says click the link at the top of the phone, and I did that for you. If you want to do it for yourself, all you do is just click in that little area right there. It'll open up your page live in a web browser. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's click check. And it flashes real fast that 2.1 was complete. We're going to hit next and continue. Okay, if you need to undo or redo changes to your code, you can either use Control Z to undo and Control Y to put it back. We're not using a Mac, so I don't think anybody in here has their own Mac. If you do, it's the Command Z and the Command Y. Okay, so let's go look at the lesson. Heading elements. We have experience with headings. We've used an H1, we've used an H2, and an H3 if you completed all the tasks in HTML0. Okay, it says the tags H1 to H6 are used to create heading text. H1 is used for the main heading, H2 is for subheadings, H3 is for subheadings, and so on. Okay. Like the title tag, heading tags have a start tag and an end tag. And some of you, over this past week, when I've looked at your code, that was the mistake you made. You had your opening H1 or your opening H2, but you didn't have a closing tag that went with it. Okay, so this is the way that you would type it. You would have your H1, you would have whatever text you want it to be in between. Now, I wouldn't put these spaces in here, okay? And then you would close it with your H1. You do not need to put this spacing before it or spacing after it. And like I said, I would encourage you, not to do that. Okay, heading tags make the heading text bigger, and it adds space above and below the contents. It's also usually in bold, okay? So our task tells us to put the tags H1 around the words my profile, okay? So that's our line 3. So let me make this a little bit larger. So we're going to go here in line 3, and I'm going to put the H1 tag in front of the M. So there's my open tag or my start tag for my H1. That's a level 1 heading. Okay, a level 1 heading, so that should make it easy to remember. And then after the E in the word profile, I'm going to close that tag. A closing tag is exactly like the opening tag, except for that /. The / goes in front of the H. Okay, so those of you doing this with me, hopefully you've got those tags around it. Okay. Number 2, it says now change both H1 tags to one of the other tags just to see the difference. Or you can look down here and see. So this is what an H1 tag looks like. This is what an H2, an H3, and I guess that's all they gave us. Notice that the text comes after the last heading in tag H3 is automatically shown on a new line on the web page, and it's just the normal text. Okay, now let me see if this is going to still check it. Even though I didn't change anything, let's make sure it's still going to check it. It did. Okay. All right, so you can change them up to see what it does, or I just look at, remember how I always said there's hints under the task? Y'all always look down there, especially if you're doing this without my help. Okay. Now again, I hope that nobody is working on makeup work. I hope you are not working on the postcard. You are not working on HTML0. You are doing this with me, because a lot of this will help you with HTML0. Okay, let's take a look. Hold on, one more fail. Oh, it's so wrong. And that's what it is. Like, what is it? They're marking that wrong. Okay, guys, and I hate that happened to you, but I'm kind of glad it happened to you so that I can mention something to you. So those of you working on your own, if y'all will stop for just a minute, let me tell you how picky Code Avengers is. Okay, so on Kaylee's, Kaylee, you don't mind if I use you as an example, okay? So on Kaylee's, her tags were right. It was marking it wrong, and you know my brain goes straight to checking with the tags. I looked at her H1, it's fine. I looked at her closing H1, it's fine. I was like, well, maybe you do have to change it or it's going to mark it wrong. I changed it to H2, still kept marking it wrong. What it was, her word profile in there was spelled wrong. If you spell something wrong that Code Avengers gives you, and what I mean by that, come on, Lisa. Over here, see how it said it gives you the text to type my profile? Anytime Code Avengers gives you something that's in bold and has quotes around it, if you do not type it exactly that way, it will mark it wrong. For example, if you just had lowercase letters instead of uppercase letters, it's going to mark it wrong. And that drives me and students crazy. So anytime it gives you something like that, I probably would go copy it from over here and paste it in. That way you don't accidentally make a spelling mistake. Because those are hard to find. Those are called logic errors, not syntax errors. Because their syntax was right, Those logic errors, they're the ones that's hard to find. Okay, so it marked it right now, Haley. Okay, all right. I think I checked mine, but we'll do it again and we'll hit next. Okay, 2.3. Down here, the little pop-up screen says click my page to show your page. Click the example to show the example page. We talked about this in HTML0. So if you ever want to know what it's supposed to look like, click on the example page. Because I'll tell you, this one, a lot of students get it wrong. All right? Because here, when we're going to put in our birthday in just a couple of minutes, notice how the 24 has the TH. Okay, we're going to learn how to do that. Okay, it's called something called superscript. Okay, also if you put December 24th or whatever your birthday is, I think it will mark it wrong. So we're going to put the number before the day. So sometimes it's, before the month, excuse me. Sometimes it's good to go look at that example page so before you hit check to make sure that you did yours correct, especially those of you doing this on your own. Okay? All right. So here on lesson 2.3, we are going to learn how to use superscript. Superscript is where the code, the text is above the line. Okay, this would be like if we're going to do a date, like the 18th of December, which is my birthday. I would want the TH above the 8 a little bit. You also have subscript. Subscript would be like if you're typing H2O and you want that 2 to go below the line. That would be subscript, and you would use a SUB instead of a SUP. Okay, but here they teach us superscript. All right. So let's go down here, follow the steps below to add your name and birthday using the same format as the example on the phone, okay? Choose a code name for your profile, then add your name using the format name and then a colon, a space, and then whatever your code name is going to be. If that's too hard for you to come up with a code name, you can just put your name, okay? But if you want to come up with something fancy and, come up with another name, that's fine too. All right. So I'm going to press enter and go down to, I'm going to put a blank line between that part. Actually, I want to put a blank line there and then a blank line here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to type name. Now notice that name needs to be capitalized. The N is capitalized. Let's see if I can do this where I can see both at the same time. And then your code name, okay? I'm just going to put Miss Tompkins because I don't know. I'm just not feeling a code name right now. If I think of something later, I'll come back, okay? And then add your birthday using the superscript. So I tell you what, let's get our birthday on there first, and then we'll come back and add the superscript, okay? So I'm going to press enter. Make this bigger. And I'm going to put birthday. Is it birthday or birth date? Birthday. Birthday. And mine is the 18th of December. Oops. A week before Christmas. Didn't have many birthday parties when I was growing up because my mom said, we can't have a birthday party because it's right here at Christmas time. Oh, I think I had a sweet 16. That might be the only one I really, really remember. All right, so I've got my name there. I've got my birthday. You guys can look over there on your phone. It should look good except for these letters after my date should be in superscript. So if we look at, the example that they give us right here, they put SUP as an open tag right in front of the two letters and then the closing SUP after the two letters. So we're going to go do the same thing. So I'm going to take my cursor and I'm going to click in front of the T. Now, if yours is like the third, you probably have RD. If it's the first, you probably have ST. So just go in front of that first letter. And I'm going to type angle bracket, SUP, angle bracket. Now, make sure your angle brackets are going the right way. Yes, ma'am, Ty. Is it an emergency? You gotta go right this minute? Okay, I'm signing out. Did you bring your bathroom passes? Okay, because I think this is like your 9th. So we got 13 weeks left in the semester. Well, 8 was yesterday, the other day. Yeah, 3 weeks late night. I just like to remind y'all about it because I don't want you to be in class and not be able to leave. So you might want to just use these last couple for emergencies only. Okay, so now I'm going to go after the H and I'm going to type /SUP, and that's the ending tag. Okay, now let's go look at my phone. Okay, everything is on one line. Let's look at our example. Too big. Yep. What have I not used yet? I hadn't finished. So I hadn't even done 3 and 4. So I was about ready to hit check. And then I looked at it and I was like, wait, the example has it on 2 lines. Mine's all on 1 line. So I haven't done something that they want us to do. So I'm like, oh, that was only number 2. I haven't done 3 and 4. Okay. So be careful of that. I've had students do the same thing with that too. Okay. So number 3 says use the break tag to show your name and birthday on separate lines. All right. Now, you can use a break one of 2 ways. Doesn't matter to me unless they tell you to put it on a certain line. You can either add that break right here, or you can press enter and do the break on the whole separate line. I'm probably going to encourage you to do it this way for right now. A little bit later on, you can connect things to the end of a line of code. Like I could have done it this way. Let me show you. I could have taken that break and I could have put it right there after my name. All right. But since we're early programmers, I'm going to have you put that on its own separate line because that makes it easier to troubleshoot. Okay. So that's number 3. And then number 4 says the main heading on a page should use an H1. So let's change the heading tags back to H1 if you haven't already. So on that one that we did a while ago, when they said try H2 and see what it looks like, try H3 to see what it looks like, check yours and make sure it's an H1. Okay. If yours is an H1, then you should be ready to check it. So your okay, so yours is still a H1, so you're fine. But now right here on the name and birthday, you don't have that done. So right here in front of that name, Lynn, because I'm fearful it's going to mark it wrong, Corey, because they're very, very precise. You need to go in front of that Lynn and put name with a capital N and a colon. And I think you got this part. I think you got the birthday part right. Did you do the superscript? This part right here, superscript? Okay. And that's the only thing about multitasking is sometimes when you're going back for 2 things, you kind of miss some stuff. So this is where you're going to go. You got your birthday on there, right? What's the birthday? What day is it? Is it? Huh? I mean, is it 18 or did you put, what did you put for birthday? 7. So you need to put a TH. And you need, I think, I'm not sure if it's going to mark that wrong. You know how you have January the 7th? It might mark it right, but it might mark it wrong because it wanted us to put the day in front of the month. So yours is 7, so you got the TH, so you're going to put the superscript in front of the TH and then the closing superscript after the H. Yes. Okay. I'm going to pause this recording for just a minute. Okay, so let's check this one. Told me 2, 3 was complete. We'll go on. Okay, if your code gets messy, you can click reset and it will magically clean it up for you. It'll take that code and put it on the bottom of your page, and I think it says old code. It comments it out, but it's down there. Okay, strong tags. Now, last semester, when my students did that digital postcard, it had things in it that you guys did not have to do. Because remember when I showed you my postcard that was finished, it had like name, time, location. They took that out. And I think the reason they took it out is because they had not taught you how to do strong and some other things. So I noticed that when you guys did the postcard this semester, but last semester it was there. Okay. All right. So the strong tag. This is how you make things bold. All right. So it says in the example page, the words name, birthday, and height. So let's go look at the example page. Okay. It's got name, birthday, and height. Now we'll have to go in and add our height, but they're in bold. So we need to learn how to do that. And if we look here at the example that they gave us, since I want name and the colon to be in bold, in front of the N, I add a strong open tag, and after the colon, I end a strong closing tag. Okay, any questions on that? We're going to go do this in front of name, birthday, and then we're going to add height. Okay, all right, so let's look at number one. Number one says, as shown in the example, add your height on a separate line after the name and birthday. Now, they used centimeters. I don't know the metric system. I know what my height is, so I'm just going to use feet and inches. If you want to do centimeters, you can, but it will still mark it right if you do feet and inches. Okay, so height has to start with a capital H. Okay, has to be spelled right. I know lots of times we get that E and the I switched around, but it's H-E-I-G-H-T and then a colon. Let me make that a little bit larger. And then after the colon, we're going to press a space bar. And I am 5, let's see, which one's the single one is the feet, right? I'm 5 feet. I'm really like 3.5 inches, but I'm going to say 4. I think I'm shrunk over the years. I used to be 5'4", now I think I'm 5'3 1/4. All right, so there's my height. So that's number one. Again, make sure the H is capitalized. Then number two says surround the words name, birthday, and height with strong start tags and end tags. So I'm going to go in front of my name. I'm going to try to make this larger because I know some of y'all are doing this with me. So I'm going to go in front of the word name, not my name, in front of the N. And I'm going to do angle bracket, S-T-R-O-N-G. All right. And then I'm going to go after the colon, and I'm going to close the strong tag. So it's exactly like the open tag, except it has that /. So again, in front of the N, angle bracket, strong angle bracket. After the colon, angle bracket, / strong angle bracket. That almost sounds like a cheer. Okay, once a cheerleader, always a cheerleader. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to birthday and height. Okay, now if you want to copy and paste, you certainly can. If you want to retype, you certainly can. So I'm going to go in front of birthday, and I'm going to paste my open one there. I'm going to go in front of height, paste my open one there. I'm going to go copy my closing one. Because I like to copy and paste anytime I can. Save me some time. Okay, let's pull this over so you guys can see. Okay. So once you get those 6 tags added, so you'll have open strong, close strong on name, birthday, height. After you get those 6 tags, go look at your phone. And now name, birthday, and height should be in bold letters. And then we can check this one. And maybe we can squeeze in 2.5. Hopefully I have to look at 2.5 and see what all is in there. See if we can do it in like 2 minutes. Any questions on this one? Did anybody's marks wrong? How do you get one down? Oh, you had to add. Oh, good question. See, I didn't even look at my phone. Thank you, Corey. He's like, how do I get the height down? So what am I missing right there? I'm missing a break. Yes. Okay, so Corey, right here before your height, I'm going to make a blank line and I'm going to add that break. Thank you. See, I didn't even look at my phone. If I had looked at my phone, I would have seen that I was missing that. Is that everything? But they didn't even remind us about that. Nope. All right, so now again, look at your example page. It looks great. Look at my page. It looks great. Hit check. This should tell us that we're complete. Everybody good? Is doing this with me? Everybody mark correct? All right, let's see what's on 2.5. All right. We got to add one line of code. That's all. This one's easy. We can do this one before. This one should take like less than 60 seconds. All right, view on a real phone. When you pass a task, your web page is uploaded to the web. See your page on a real phone by going, we're not going to do that because we can't have our phones out. So we're just going to get rid of that. But you could look at it on your phone. All right, so we have used link elements before. This is what links your page to a CSS style sheet. Now, Code Avengers is going to give us one. And I think there are lots of them to choose from. Let's see how many there are. I don't know how many there are. I think there's like 15, 17 to choose from. So let's go here and let's copy this line of code. This is our link attribute. Tomorrow we'll come back to this and review attributes and things like that in a little bit. But let's copy that. I think I copied it. Yeah. I think that's, yeah. And we're going to put this on our third line. Okay, so let's go up here to our third line and paste it in. Now look at what you have. You've got blue coloring and you've got a black background. Okay, I'm not sure how many there are. Let's say you can change the 1 to a 2 and oh, so maybe there's only 3. There's more. I think there's more than 3. So let's go to see what 2 is. 2 is green. 3 is orange. Yeah, I was thinking there was lots more. 4 is purple. What's 5? Is there a pink one in there? Oh, so find one that you like. So you get to one point and your background's change. I like pink, but I don't know if I like that texture on my background. But find one you like. And that's all you have to do on that one. Again, we just copy that link line of code. Tomorrow we'll come back and I'll dissect the parts of that link element. But just for time's sake, I'm going to check mine. It says that I'm right. So that's a good place to stop. So we got all of lesson 1 done and all of lesson 2 done. And we'll pick up here tomorrow.